Hi, good evening. Hello, familiar faces. Hi, Carla. Hi, Mijo. Hi, everyone. I'm really glad to see everyone making it out here today. It's really hot outside and humid, and it's so cool in here. And I'm just so grateful that you all have made the time for us here at Ivy. So, day two of Radical Experiments, Making Space, Breaking Space. Um, I'm Kemi Ukadike, the head of Artist Initiatives and Inclusion here at IB. Like I said, I'm very grateful to all of you for being here. Today, we have a very nice lineup. But first, I want to introduce John, right? John from SciNexus. He is our ASL interpreter along with Phoenix, and they will be, signing and interpreting along with us today. So first, we're going to be screening. No, actually, I thought we were going to be screening that first, but first we're going to have a book reading, right, from Daniela's book, Rebelling of the Roots. It's an excerpt from her book, read by Kim. And then we're going to go into our screenings. We're going to have Subash, Fabi, Sai's next. I'm so sorry, the lineup changed, and it's all good. So Sai is going next um, with our Eros Study Glory Hole, and that's really exciting. And then we're going to go into our screening, right? And so we're going to have Subash Thebe Limbu's VH Award-winning film, and then we're going to have Nushin's Facial Recognition and the Matrix of Domination and Future Tense, AI from the Margins. We're going to have a wonderful dance performance by Paula, and new video works by Astrid Gonzalez. I want to give a few shout-outs to our artists who are here, iBeam staff, who else? Everyone else, just a big shout-out, and so grateful that you all can join us tonight. And with that said, I'm going to hand it over to Kim, who's going to begin Daniela's book reading.
Okay, I'll just give us all a second to set up the screen. Excellent. Okay, and there's the screen. Thank you so much for helping set this up. So as Kemi said, my name is Kim Villafuerte Barzola. I'm so excited to be sharing some excerpts from Daniela's book, Rebellion of the Roots, which has been printed physically, and there's some wonderful illustrations that you'll have a chance to look at. But I wanted to just read the very short introduction at the front of this book before getting into the excerpts that I think will share a little bit about the themes that come up in the entirety of the book. And there isn't a slide for this, so I'm just going to read the introduction. And the day will arrive when the tropical plants held hostage in Europe's botanical gardens and greenhouses since the 19th century will be protected and nurtured by the spirits of racialized people. They will be cared for by those who died at the hands of European colonial violence while being exploited and exhibited in ethnographic museums and universal exhibitions. Those who died as a consequence of the institutional racism imposed by the migratory control system. So that's the introduction at the beginning of this book. And now we'll start with the first excerpt. We can go to the next slide. Perfect. I can also move to the side. I think I'm blocking part of the exhibit. I'm just going to move my chair very quickly. There we go. Okay. The beautiful resistance spirit of Samira Adamu, who was murdered by Belgian police during her deportation, will eternally live for taking care of the Congolese palm trees, kidnapped by Leopold II in the royal greenhouse of Laeken. The coconuts will be nurtured by the anti-colonial spirit to grow big and strong. While making an official visit to the royal greenhouse of Laeken, 4 coconuts will beautifully fall on top of the Belgian Minister of Interior, whose life will be gone for not causing more suffering over migrant communities. Blessed is it our beautiful palm tree, nurtured by Samira Adamu, that will serve anti-colonial justice with a sweet coconut smell. The rebellion of the roots will long prevail and do not admit any other white man to murder our life. So that's the first excerpt. Okay, here's the next one. In the silent nights of the colonial exhibition, the whisper of a captive Ghanaian man is heard telling resistance stories of his own town to a lonely Ndama cow. From the sadness of captivity and confinement, both the man and the lonely cow died. The white man decided to have the leather sold out, arriving to the hands of a Palestinian good man, and the leather was transformed into a beautiful shoe. The beautiful shoe one day was bought. The new owner name was one we won't forget. Muntazir al-Zaidi got this pair of Ndama shoes that were fully made out of leather with anti-colonial soul. The shoe one day flew with dignity and honor to go straight to the head of the beast with sulfur smell. The empire will be defeat with good leather shoes that will fall to knock the colonial demon. Glorious Ghanaian man with his lovely Ndama cow, we will never let you down. The fight will go on until the empire we tear down. Okay, so we'll move on to our next story. In the greenhouse of the Ciudadela Park of Barcelona, a capuli tree stolen from Cusco was once planted for the sake of colonial greed. There was a snake also stolen from the south, who managed to escape from the nearby zoo. The snake had no food, so she decided to eat the capuli fruit. Tupac Amaru's spirit lived in the capuli tree that gave strength to the glorious snake that bite the man, who not only kidnapped animals and plants, but also a black man from Botswana lands. Francis Darder died of a deep bite with anti-colonial venom in 1918. Thanks to the tree, the snake, and the land for having give birth to the anti-colonial prowess that took life away from the man who imposed racist restraint. Okay, and our last excerpt. In Colombia, a social leader has been killed. 1, 3, 27, 300, and more than 1,000 have been murdered by the paramilitaries for defending life. Blood on the ground, blood on the soil, sacred coca leaf plants will grow with the pain that will remain inside cocaine. In the city of Brussels, city of colonial domain, those who inflict pain meet once again. Veronique Lorenzo from the European Union says she will refuse to recognize human rights violations in Colombia, while Alberto Calderón will rub his hands thinking of the gold he will extract. Adriana Mejia and Marta Lucía Ramírez will fast, organize all the state violence to protect colonial values. They will celebrate until late in the night, when they will all die thanks to strong cocaine lines. Thanks, sacred coca leaf, for making explode those hearts that kill good people and love. Thank you.
All right, hi everyone. My name is Sai X, and I'm going to do a short reading of a piece that I wrote about a previous Eros study on glory holes that happened in July. And so just to give you an idea of what to expect, there will be a 10-minute reading or so. There will be some audio in the background. The content will be of the erotic nature, so you can figure out how you want to participate in that. It'll be on glory holes. And also, just to share a bit about Eros Study. Eros Study is this project that I created during my time in I-Beam. I'm a technologist who fell in love with the earth, and then the earth led me to falling in love with the body, and I saw those things all as separate and not related, and have been learning how to tie them all together. And Eros Study is sort of this thing of me trying to see new possibilities of how to combine these things with a specific focus on the erotic, on pleasure, and this idea I'm investigating of perverted design is what I'm calling it for now. And so I see the glory hole as an example of perverted design. And if you're curious about Eros Study, there will be another one that's happening this Friday from 7 to 9 p.m. at Hex House, which is not too far from here. It's in East Williamsburg in an artist space. Me and Brent are part of it. So if you're around, definitely come through. There's a lot of really amazing people who are part of that space. And Friday's topic will be on Catholicism and kink, thinking about Catholicism's influence on kink and BDSM design. I am not an expert in that. We have a guest, Gabriela Garcia, who will be giving an experimental sermon about that. And I will be there as host and holding the space for us all. And so if that is intriguing to you at all, definitely find me, talk to me. There's a lot of really interesting work that has been going into mapping the connections between those things. And so I guess that's all I'll give as a little preview to Eros Study. I'll be around if you have more questions, but the context of this reading is that it's a personal reflection of something that happened as part of a larger group. And so I'm giving a little sort of glimpse into a moment that was experienced collectively. Okay. Pulling up this reading. I'm going to tell you a story about a glory hole, or really all holes. I'll tell you about the holes themselves and the poetics surrounding them, the real thing and the poetry, which are neither separate nor entirely different. It is simply perspective. But there is a clause. People sometimes prefer their poetry to put them at ease, to assuage them that they would not be going into this space thinking about the foul things that people do with their holes, with others' holes, around holes, outside holes. This may not put you at ease. It is a story, after all, a story that is not about ease. So we began, me, a teenager, living in a single-parent household. I spent most of my time isolated and on the internet. My mother tired, exhausted, but hip enough to acquire a computer for what she thought would be used solely for educational purposes, and it was. But with the birth of the internet and my increasing movement into puberty, it was not long before I encountered the erotic edges of the World Wide Web. Chat rooms became my friend, and I frequently lurked on forums, Craigslist personals, and porn sites. The glory hole appeared to me during this time and shifted my entire worldview. I had never seen a glory hole myself, nor had I heard anyone discuss them. I never heard about it in sex ed either. It only existed on the internet. and by extension, in the lives of adults who had the freedom to fuck and play with whoever they wanted, whenever they wanted. It became my personal symbol for freedom. It became my I will know I am free when I see glory holes all around me. It became my glory hole, the desire that opened was a glory hole. I wanted so badly to be an adult. I wanted so badly to be free. So let's set the scene. We are in what appears to be a bathroom, and somewhere along the stall there is a hole, a few inches wide, that takes the form of an imperfect circle that's in the middle of the stall on the connective wall. It is unclear what exactly is on the other side, although we might assume it is another stall, and that nothing at the moment is coming out of the hole. My attention is drawn towards the hole since it seems to be a disruption in the otherwise clear and perfect structure. But before we continue, let's talk about affordances. A term introduced to the design community in 1988 by Don Norman, who wrote The Design of Everyday Things. The term affordances refers to perceived and actual properties of the thing, primarily those fundamental properties that determine just how the thing could possibly be used. Affordances provide strong clues to the operation of things. Knobs are for turning, slots are for inserting things into, balls are for throwing or bouncing. When affordances are taken advantage of, the user knows what to do just by looking. No picture, label, or instructions needed. Affordances are an invitation to expand an understanding of what collaboration can happen between a thing and a body. And yet, it is not always so simple. Sasha Constanza-Chalk in Design Justice states that we should consider how design, affordances, and disaffordances, objects and environments, services, systems, and processes distributes both penalty and privileges to individuals based on their location within the matrix of domination. Constanza-Chalk urges us to consider affordances and disaffordances on the personal, community, and institutional level. What can a hole in the middle of a connective wall of a bathroom stall provide? Depending on the placement, the hole might afford more light pouring into your stall, and if someone is able to see with their eyes, provides a place for someone to peek, to see what lies beyond their world. The hole also allows for something to go through it on either side. This hole seems big enough for a few fingers, or a small hand, or anything that is smaller than the hole to go through. You could place the penis, organic or inorganic, if you have one, or a limb through it with a few caveats. It would need to be longer than the depth of the hole, at an appropriate height that allows for you to comfortably allow part of yourself to move beyond. If someone ran out of toilet paper, you could pass it through the hole. You could also pass a cigarette, poppers, snacks, your phone number on a paper, a flip phone, a seed, an Arduino, a tampon through the hole. You could sing a song or whisper a secret through the hole. There's also the opportunity to bring something or some part of you to the surface. Perhaps it is unable to protrude beyond the depth as an obvious invitation, but it will still more than likely catch the attention of an onlooker next door. You could bring your palm, your chest, your heart, your cheek, your lips, your forehead for a kiss. But even before we arrive at the specific hole in the bathroom, we must ask, who has access to this bathroom? Is it in a public restroom? Did you have to pay to access it? Is it the bathroom in your workplace? In your home? Is it in a gendered bathroom? Do you feel safe in that bathroom? Is the stall wheelchair accessible? Is it clean? Can you hear the vibrations of a body as they approach the door? Are there even doors on the stall, or are you just exposed? All of these questions must be considered because they dictate who might even be brought to the glory hole to begin with. And if someone does find their way, all of this and more would influence their emotional landscape. I really do not want to admit it, but today I will. Holes are scary. They often arouse fear, trypophobia, the many tiny holes that are too small for us to know what exactly is going on and arouses profound discomfort. And the gigantic black hole somewhere far away, yet still too close, which has the capacity to consume all of my friends, family, crushes, and our own holes, often confusing. Our throat, vaginas, assholes, pores, ears, nose, to name a few. And then the other holes we encounter in our everyday. The way they appear at the base of a tree, on the ground below, in our food. Who or what is in there, and do we want to find out? And when we return to the glory hole and the bathroom, depending on everything that happened before the moment we arrive, perhaps this hole arouses a sense of thrill or maybe fear. If we have an awareness of this hole before we encounter it, it could be intentionally visited whenever we are in the mood. A stop by before work, during lunch, at the end of the day. We could become someone. We could become a regular. We could be missed. We could be pleasured. We could pleasure. We could be one who shapes space. If this is our first time encountering it, the shock itself could produce an erotic thrill where we feel compelled to see what happens. Regardless, the glory hole is a well of risk, and risk can be the special ingredient that brings us into the fullness of our body, or it can be an erotic depressant. Perhaps on the other side is a new friend, special lover, but sometimes who finds you on the other side is your enemy. The bathrooms where we fuck, love, shed, find relief are often highly organized zones. Beyond and inside these stalls, we confront gender disciplining practices, a collection of shoulds and should nots regarding how a body should be and what a body should do. Every bathroom has the police, the emboldened discipliner, the everyday person, your stall neighbor, the gender obsessed, the ever so curious, and the police, institutional supporters and defenders of the state, the cop next door, the abuser with a badge who would touch you through the hole and take your pleasuring as their own, only to lock you up after. Sheila Kavanagh in Queering Bathroom states gender is employed to seal the body. Gender and other biopolitical systems of categorization want to make the body complete, known, knowable, understood, relatable, tracked. And it attempts to do so by making skin the supposed boundary of a violently enforced border. We abide by these rules of our borders, both consciously and unconsciously, as in the way we talk, move, love, touch, systems shaping space, shaping us, shaping space. But some of us do not want to continue to embody that which intends to eat us from within, destroying every bit of us, making us lonely, exhausted, and sick. Some of us want to embody something different, orienting towards life and freedom. I'm awe hunting, or more accurately, I'm glory hunting. I'm seeking to come into contact with the glory, the divine, with the larger than me that holds and connects me to the expansiveness of all, human and other than human, and to the remembrance of all. The divine which brings me into contact with an awareness of Eros, that animating force, that has the power to take my essential essence and unravel me beyond recognition as I drift beyond the barriers of my skin, the police border. Eros knows the self does not end at the skin. It is Eros that leads my body to yours to explore the edge and beyond. It is Eros that creates a hunger so grand I will take a risk. It is Eros that brought me to the glory hole. And moving toward and beyond the hole, I remembered the touch of the divine that which caused me to unravel so much that I was made anew. Systems of control destroyed, armor destroyed, just free, reveling in the glory.